Welcome to Growth Minded Contractor. In this episode, we are going to talk about how commercial roofers can grow their business, have no competition, lower their marketing costs, increase deal sizes, get re-roofs through a service department, through scaling over 8 figures in their service department from 1 to 30 something trucks. If you do these things and if you get into service, and how powerful this process is and the strategy is for your business. So tune in to today's episode. Bryan, welcome aboard, my friend. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks, Ryan. Great to be here.
Yeah. Well, it's great for you. I'm glad you're here. For those of you, for the folks who don't know you, can you just give us a quick bio, and then what we're going to do is we're going to talk about this journey from how the company that you were involved with started with a couple of service trucks, and then we're in the 30s by the time you finished working with them, which is awesome. So maybe a quick bio though first, if you could, Bryan.
Well, Ryan, when you get to my age, there's no such thing as a quick bio. So the only way to make it quick is to leave a few things out. So I'll just stick to roofing. And I got started in the 90s. I've got an estimating background. And as you say, in the 2000s, joined a small roofing company and had the opportunity to be at the sort of grassroots stage of building it, and enjoyed being part of the growth. Actually spent some time away because I did overseas missions for quite a long time, over 50 countries I got involved in then, and then got back in the roof company again. And as you say, by the time I left, we were over 30 trucks, having started with literally one. And that was an exciting thing to see happen, and eye-opening, because what really surprised me was how little processes had changed from 3 or 4 trucks to 30 trucks.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I know you're, involved in defining those processes and putting those in place. Contractors checking out this show. I mean, look, you're listening to this and you're like, okay, I would love to have 30 trucks. But we're not talking about 30 sales trucks, knocking doors per se, or we're talking about commercial roofing service, which means, what does that mean, Bryan, when someone's doing 30 trucks? If, on an average market, what could that look like in revenue and gross profit for that department?
Yeah, well, at that stage, you're on the other side of $10 million in service revenue. And that's going to break into a couple of areas. You're going to have a scope of work group. You're going to have your time and material, which is really your reactive group that, gets your new clients in and obviously keeps the others dry. And then you'll have built a good ongoing maintenance program. And something that I'd love to encourage anyone who's listening to this who has a roofing company and is thinking of getting into service is get into ongoing maintenance immediately. Um, every re-roof is an ongoing maintenance account. So get into it quick. You actually are really in it already when you do a re-roof, because the warranty states, the manufacturer states that your client has to have an ongoing maintenance program. So you really have an opportunity
Mm-hmm.
to be in it immediately. And yeah, that
Mm-hmm.
is residual income. Um, and that is also what you might call taking the roof off the street. That becomes your roof and nobody else is going to be touching it.
Mm.
So that means any work that goes on that building is going to be yours.
It's my roof, man. That's my roof.
Yep.
Um, Love that. That's good. So something that I'm just thinking about, I'm like, hey, I'm a listener, I'm a roofer or a contractor. I'm driving in a car right now and I'm listening to this podcast. And like that $10 million took how long? Like what kind of thinker does somebody need to be to actually like want to do what we were talking about? Because I think this, especially in roofing, the short term is like, let me just try to get re-roof sales, make job, close jobs, do work, get insurance to pay for it if possible, kind of have more of a quick hit, quick win. And this to me is a lot more of a long-term thinking, which for anybody who's growth minded should be thinking long-term, right? So talk to me a little bit about the contractor who's sitting in here right now, listening to this in the car. They're just like, what's required long term for that for you to for this to work in a roofing business?
Ryan, the crazy thing is that the service model, although you talk about it as long term, is short term success in re-roof as well. Service grows re-roofing and re-roof grows service. So what's happening with service, although you might be thinking, well, those are small dollars, they add up, they're recurring. You're going to end up with 4 or 5 transactions with every client. Every client you put into a service program that has additional roofs is going to grow your business. And it's almost like you're doing sales calls 6 times a year to every client. And so you're finding out what their re-roof opportunities are. And so your re-roof business is going to grow. So I'd really say get this started right at the beginning, and all right, if you've been doing this for a long
You're
time,
saying it's not a long term. This isn't a long term thing. This is a short and long term thing.
yeah, I mean, the way that it's a long term thing is residual income. And you could own a roof for life. You could install a roof, you could maintain a roof, then you could do a restoration on that roof, and then you could re-roof it again. And for some of us who are that old, we've been through that cycle. But if you can imagine that every client you put on that happened with, that would be incredible, wouldn't it? And it's not going to be every client, but if you get several clients like that, you have roofs for life. That means you're maintaining them, you're restoring them,
Mhm.
and then you're replacing them. And you think of that from your client's perspective. If I'm able to extend the life of my client's roof for 10 or 15 years more than the next roofer, how valuable am I to him? Our average re-roof was $400,000. So I'll keep $400,000 in your pocket for 5, 10, or 15 years longer than the next guy. I'm suddenly incredibly valuable, and I should be handling all of your roofs, right?
Yeah, I'm just pulling out my calculator right now, and I'm just like, let's say 400,000, and the average life of that roof is what, supposed to be 30 years, but it's really like 20 if they don't do maintenance.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Is
So,
that yes?
people say 80% of
$20,000 a year.
right,
It's amazing, you could save a lot of money, so if you look at 400,000, you just look at the math, you're like 400,000 for a 20-year roof or 400,000 plus some maintenance for 30-year roof. And then the delay of that reinvestment the next time, it's very powerful.
right. What could your client be
Why do
doing
you
with that
think
money?
so many
Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, finding more, good tenants or improving whatever it is, right? It's an industrial center, it's a plaza, it could be anything. Um, there's so many ways to talk about this because I think that when I just think about the contractor, I'm imagining, Mike or AJ or Bob, they're in their truck and they do a couple of million a year. They do a couple of referral commercial jobs at church or whatever. Most companies that are probably listening aren't, super well established commercial roofers. It could be. But I think a lot of them they're just, they're brand, like they don't do service. Like they're afraid of it, and yeah, and I just think that a lot of them are they just don't pull the trigger. They don't put the foot on the gas pedal. And I'm just like, I want them to walk out of here saying I'm ready to start service or grow my service department because every top contractor that I know in roofing, commercial roofing, knows that service is the tip of the spear and it's the secret sauce. So why not just start now and build it? But like I feel like a lot of people they they're like, repairs are like, there's no money in repairs, or there's I got to get techs and I got to get trucks, and it's just a lot of extra. And it's like I want them to just realize that thinking is keeping them from being incredibly wealthy one day, having a really strong business, employing a lot of people, helping a lot of people, and creating a great reputation in their market as somebody who's really extending the life of their roof and creating great value. This goes for any business model. Any business model is all about recurring revenue and touching them multiple times. This is what service is like. And I'm shocked by how many people don't take service in commercial roofing as the most serious thing that they should be thinking about, because
Ron,
it starts everything. It leads to so much.
just every client that I've worked with has said to me, I would love to do it. I just don't know how, or I just don't have time to write out those processes. Because one of the things about service is it's a very fast business, right? If somebody's got a leak, you got to get out there and you got to fix it, and you got to make sure you fix it in a way that you're not called back, because you'll get called back to fix it, and then you'll never get called back again, right? But how do I put those
Hmm.
processes together? How do I train my team? How do I estimate it?
Hmm.
And whenever I show the documentation that I work with, they all say, "Man, this is exactly what I wanted to write, but I've just never had the time to do it." And a small roofing company, you're really busy, right? Because you're wearing a lot of hats, and so you got to be organized. And what we recognize is that you have roles that you have to play. People have to play multiple roles. As you grow, of course, you start getting specialists, and now you're starting to look like a production line.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's what's so exciting about what we built is the pain someone's feeling is that this all sounds great. Like, I want to have the tip of the spear. I want to have trucks flying around the county and the city, and I want to build relationships. I want to have 6 sales calls a year with the building owner instead of one that I close, 5 out of 100. So people, straight re-roof companies close 5-10% sometimes, and the low margins are the reason why they got them versus building relationships. I mean, there's so much upside to service, but they get stuck thinking about how to do it, how to be separate and differentiate themselves from their competition. And um, I could feel the pain that they would be in. It's like, wow, it's like starting a new business within my business that I don't know how to start. But yet they know that's going to create a compound effect to help impact the rest of their business in so many ways, like so many different ways. So
When you
I'm a huge believer in it. And that's why, you know,
when you talk about profitability, one of the things that I noticed in the service business is when you start talking about a layover or a restoration, and you've got that person as a client for maintenance, you don't really have any competition in
mhm,
that. You get the job. So already you getting more opportunity as a result of your service. Never mind the re-roof. Now re-roof is probably going to go out to bid, right? But if you've got a great relationship over years with a client, you got a very good chance of a last look on those re-roof bids as well. So here you've got the restoration or the recover or the layover almost handed to you because you're the roofer, and then you got a good shot at the re-roof when that
mhm,
comes along. We teach people when they're doing their roofing marketing, and you've really brought this into the industry. You teach it, and I've learned from you on this as well, is that in order to get business, you need to be visiting clients, right? This bid and hoping to win business is a tough game. Whereas when you're visiting clients, you've got a really great shot at getting business. Now, the thing about having
mhm,
relationships and ongoing maintenance is you're always visiting those clients. So you
mhm,
here I am again. These guys become your friends. You're their service provider. You're saving them money. It's staying in their pocket. And so what I was seeing is us writing these re-roof contracts um, with our existing clients, and the restoration contracts with our existing clients. So it wasn't like we're out there trying to bid. We're actually just working with our existing clients, and what's a repair project suddenly turns into a big restoration project. It's just another job for your
Yeah,
client.
it's wild. Like, it's 5 times less expensive to do business with an existing client than it is to find a new one, and your closing ratio is higher, your margins are higher. And it's like, I was coaching somebody this week where I was working with a sales rep, and I found, like, I was like, "How many accounts do you have that you've done recurring work with?" They're like, "One." And I was like, "All right, well, let's look at that account." And what I did was I saw so much potential with 5 minutes of research, just with all the buildings that this organization's bought, all the buildings they're rehabbing,
Oh,
the funding that they got, like, it's just, and this person's thinking about, you know, other things.
yeah.
And it's like, no, it's all about relationships.
Yeah, this is not new business. For anybody who's been in roofing for a while, they've been re-roofing, right? So we're not talking about creating a new business. I'm saying go back to your old clients and build those relationships, build that business. You already got a client base for this. And if you think of yourself as a building owner, Ryan, so first of all, the reason you know me is you had a leak and I came in and I fixed it for you, right? So already
Mhm,
I've done something good. The next thing I've done is I've
mhm,
explained to you, Ryan, you think you've got a manufacturer's warranty on your roof, but if you don't have a maintenance program and you're not keeping records, you probably don't. So I'm going to help you with that. Then
mhm,
I'm going to extend the life of your roof for multiple years. Anytime you do any work on that roof, I'm
mhm.
going to do it for you. Why would you not use me for the restoration and the recover and the re-roof? And I think you're probably going to be talking about me to your friends who own buildings.
Totally. So the reality is without a service mechanism, without having repair, preventive maintenance, scope of work, like, you can't manifest this business model at all in commercial roofing. It's not going to work because the frequency is too low for you to be able to get in the door and build relationships. The barrier to entry is too high. So you've seen it firsthand. 2 to 30 something trucks, right? Over $10 million in just service revenue. There's no coincidence why the re-roofing grew. You never, it would have been impossible to get that many re-roofs that company did, that you guys did, without service. Like, it would have not been possible. You would have had to have bid, quite frankly, you would have gone back into the new construction market and low bid your way to be able to do it. And then the margins are thinner, the pay is slower, the working capital is more working capital is required. That could have been how you would have got that many new production jobs, but that would have been a pain in the butt and scary, and maybe gone out of business. In a bad with a bad few quarters.
Yeah, and as
Where this is, yeah.
yeah, as you're growing your service business, your service trucks are billboards. And one of our best sources of leads for re-roofing was our service trucks, the billboards, because that's what people see.
Mhm,
If you are in the service
mhm.
business and you got a service truck, it needs to be, you know, pimped out so that you're marketing yourself. But also, when your guys go and repair a roof, they can pull up to the building and get all the equipment out and etc. But as soon as they're ready to go to work, put that truck on the street where everybody will see it. I would rather pay a parking ticket
Yeah,
and get the get the exposure. Um, we see a McDonald's on just about every exit when you get off the freeway. But in a neighborhood, when you're seeing
mhm.
these roofing trucks, and residential guys know this, because when you re-roof a home, everyone in the neighborhood is paying attention, and you'll definitely get a few people come over and say, "Hey, can you help me?" So that exposure in your marketplace is incredible.
Yeah. For sure. So look, like you're listening and you're like, commercial roofing service. Wow, this sounds awesome. I want to do it. There hasn't, and been very many resources in the industry to get help. Um, and so what I saw with you, Brian, as we knew each other in our prior roles before I started this, and you joined, but it was like there's an opportunity to share and coach all that you've been a part of, to make a difference and helping company owners transform into a service organization that promotes the brand, creates relationships. Strategically, it is amazing. And so there's probably very few companies that are doing it at a very, very high level in your state, even. Okay. Just in your state, even in your region. I think the market's wide open for this. It's powerful. So that's why we joined forces to build Service Accelerator. You and I, we built a product. We have coaching, some live events. We have workshops. We have one-on-one consulting and coaching. We've actually hired another coach onto our staff to support because we have so many customers that we're helping. And the ones who are doing it right and following instruction and taking action and building with us are seeing recurring revenue, reoccurring. They're seeing their sales go up, they're seeing their margins go up, they're seeing their closing ratio go up, and their ability to predict the future. And with uncertain economic times, this is the best time to have a service department because there's not a lot of extra capital expense money to just start throwing around. You got to have a way to meet the client where they're at, and where they're at is always to try to make it last longer. So I don't know. I'm so pumped to have this program up. Service Accelerator. It's a program. It's a product of Sales Transformation Group that Bryan is spearheading and doing an amazing job. And our clients are crushing it. And they don't want to tell us to how well they're doing because they don't tell people about it, because they don't want anybody else in their market using it. But no, bottom line is it's leveling up the industry, and I'm
Ron,
super excited so people can. Yeah,
the other thing that's really amazing about doing service right now is all of the roofing manufacturers are pushing it. So the roofing manufacturers, material
yeah,
manufacturers are actually promoting it for you. 20 years ago, it wasn't something people were talking about, but now everyone
so
in the industry is talking about it, right? So as you say,
you got 300 sales reps in one manufacturer. Maybe you just call it 100 nationwide. You got them, they're trying to generate business too. And if you're doing a great job and they believe in you and your service department, they're just going to refer you.
yeah, they're the guys who mandated it in their warranty agreements.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. So check us out. SalesTransformationGroup.com. Check out products, Service Accelerator. Take a look at Bryan's amazingly done video, and you can inquire and learn all about how we can help and walk you through that process. And so yeah, that's it, guys. We'll wrap this up. Bryan's pretty decently active on LinkedIn here and there. You can find Bryan Mitchell on LinkedIn, and you can also just check us out and go to Sales Transformation Group, see how we can help with the Service Accelerator program. So, Bryan, thanks for hopping on, and man, love the time, love the talk of how people can grow with service.
Awesome. Thanks for the opportunity, Ryan. We're here in Kansas City working with a couple of our clients right now and just seeing awesome stuff happening.
Amazing, amazing. Thanks for tuning in to Growth Minded Contractor. Now, all you got to do is watch this on YouTube, subscribe, like, share with your friends, people who want to grow. Share it with your manufacturer's rep, share it with your sales rep, with your supply company. Share this episode with your friends. Check us out on Spotify. We're on all the platforms. Like, subscribe, share, comment, rate us. All the good stuff. Thank you for tuning in to Growth Minded Contractor. See you on the next episode.